everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We are back here on YouTube, and today we're talking about paddling an outrigger canoe on the left side and keeping the AMA light. Ultimately, the theme of this video is using your hips to control the canoe. This is a part 2 of a previous video where we talk about paddling on the right side to keep the AMA light. This video is a direct continuation of that video, so if you haven't watched it, go back, finish that, then come to this. So from that video, we talk about using the hips as a way to shift our weight out of the canoe and back into the canoe as we're taking strokes. Using your hips allows you to engage your lower body and connect it to your upper body and supercharge your hands with the power of your lower body. Power efficiency from using your hips is very high, but the balance implications of utilizing your hips is even more important. Paddlers in very rough water conditions paddle effortlessly, and they look like they're just paddling on flat water because they're relying on their hips shifting their weight into the canoe when they need it the most. So they make it look simple because they're relying on these large muscles to allow the boat to stay stable. In the outrigger canoe, the AMA is both your greatest asset and your biggest hindrance. We rely on it for stability, but if you lean onto it, it is the single largest point of drag on the canoe. Paddlers that are not utilizing their hips to engage the balance of the canoe, they're going to lean their torso to the side and take these sideways strokes. The efficiency of these strokes is not great because we're not using our hips, and we have even more weight on the AMA because we're leaning on it. These ideas compound on each other, and when we're looking at high-end racing performances, paddlers that are keeping the AMA light and using their hips to engage strokes confidently are going to go faster. Even if your skill level matches another person, if you're not running the canoe and the AMA lightly, the tool and the hull is working against you. So paddling on the left side and keeping the AMA light. This is almost counterintuitive in nature. Very hard to conceptualize. How can I put my body weight on the left side of the boat and have the AMA skim across the top and be less of a point of a drag? So like we talked about in the last video, as we shift our hips on a right side stroke, as our left hip comes forward to complete the motion of the stroke, our weight naturally is going to shift to the left side of our body. This same phenomenon is going to occur as we're paddling on the left side. As we go to complete a stroke, the right hip and right knee coming forward is going to shift your weight to the right side of the canoe. So this means is as we're taking the stroke, we have our weight on our left sit bone and the left side of the boat. So the AMA is going to go a little deeper into the water as the blade is in its power phase. But as we complete the stroke and get to the exit, the success of the hips rotating, the right knee comes forward, the right hip comes forward. As we exit, the AMA is going to be very light. This occurring at the exit means that the AMA is just going to gently skim onto the top of the water or even find a little bit of air under it. As the boat is gliding forward, as we're setting up the next stroke, the AMA is not a point of drag slowing us down. Each time we take a left side stroke, if we're doing this hip motion successfully, the AMA is in the air ever so slightly as the canoe is gliding. Maximizing the canoe's glide every single stroke, even if you only get a few inches of additional glide, it begins to add up in your favor, especially in long distance racing. So again, you have a racer that is utilizing this small mechanic, and each stroke they can pull ahead ever so slightly, and this can change race results. So now the question is, when I take these strokes and shift my weight to the right side, why am I not flipping over? The next mechanic that we're using that keeps us safe at the end of the stroke is our top hand's pathing. On the channel, we talk a lot about using the top hand and driving down, using the back half of the stroke to pull the boat past the blade. Another added benefit of paddling with this very specific top hand pathing is that as this top hand is down, we inherently have quite a bit of our body weight on the left side of the canoe. My right hip and right knee have gone forward and all my weight is on my right sit bone. But my upper body and my arms is still over the left side of the canoe. So as long as my top hand has come down throughout the stroke, as I push forward with the knee and the hip, I have found a balance that prevents the canoe from flipping over. If my top hand does not travel down outside of the boat and it stays on the inside of the boat, as I shift my weight to the side, I'll flip over. The success of completing the dynamic motion of the top hand coming down protects you. It is almost impossible to flip as long as this top hand is outside of the boat on the left side. This is the counterweight that is preventing us from flipping, from shifting our weight to the side. If you remove this counterweight and only shift to the side, you'll huli immediately. This is where it shows running the ama lightly is a mastery of both your movement and using all of these small mechanics with each other to obtain a very specific goal. The top hand driving down helps me find pressure and put my body weight on the stroke. This is a very efficient pathing with the top hand, and an added benefit is it prevents me from falling over. The same idea with our hips. When we use our hips to a maximum, we can engage with the water for longer. We're using our lower body muscles in the stroke, and it allows us to be in control of the balance of the boat. Paddlers that don't use their hips, paddlers that have poor arm pathing, all of these things add up to the boat being very unstable. And the only way to counter it is to literally lean to the side. Sitting level, using your hips to shift around, understanding the pathing of your hands and its influence on your balance. This shows a mastery of your motion controlling the canoe. The ama's setting is one small aspect that contributes to how light the canoe is going to feel. But you can set your ama to a heavy setting, but your body motion is the true determination if your ama is light. Having the ama set light doesn't mean that it's light. You can still lean on it and shove the whole thing in the water. You are in control of the 99% of what your ama is going to do, and the small settings that you are in control of will help accentuate this, but it is not a true determining factor of how the canoe is going to feel. So the video that we spliced into this is an exaggeration. Every time you paddle on the left side, you don't have to slap the ama into the water. We're doing this to show full control of the canoe, and it's a great drill to go through. If you can take the stroke and lift the ama and shift your weight as you're going through your recovery and slap the ama back down, it just shows that you're in full control of your boat. Adding this hip motion and hand pathing with a brace, and now all of a sudden it is very, very difficult to flip over. Having these skills under your belt increases your confidence and allows you to attack the stroke with a higher level of urgency, which is going to make you go faster. If the ama coming up is an unknown and makes you tighten up, you need to travel within that world a little bit more to understand the limitations and how far you can push the limits of your canoe. Excellent. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for checking out the YouTube channel. Don't forget, check out the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com. We have 300 videos. Many of those videos are drills that you can do in your canoe to maximize your stroke. Breaking down the stroke into the front half or the back half, using your hips, flying the ama. These are all drills that we have broken down to give you a better mastery of your body's movement, your connection with the water, and controlling your boat. We also offer video reviews on the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com. Don't forget to check out the website today to get all that info. Every Monday, we're going to have the Paddling Pursuit podcast aired right here on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Right now, the YouTube channel is set up for a YouTube membership where you can pay, I think it's $2.99 a month. What we're going to do is have a whiteboard, and if you are part of that membership, we're going to put your name on the whiteboard showing that you're supporting the YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for the ongoing support. Without you all, this all couldn't be possible. If there's any videos or topics that you would like to see discussed in depth, comment, email, get in touch, and we will try to get those videos out to you right here on YouTube. Thank you all so much again, and we'll see you next week.